Lisa Thompson was the perfect soccer mom. Always on time, always organized, always modest. No one questioned why she stayed so calm during crisis situations, why she raised her children with such discipline. Until her military ID fell out and everyone learned she was actually an Army captain. Welcome to Hidden Legends. Before we begin this powerful story, tell us in the comments which city you're watching from today. And if you believe real heroes often hide in the most ordinary roles, hit that subscribe button. Because Lisa's story will show how motherhood and military service can unite. But first, you need to understand why a perfect mother's military career past could shock an entire community. Maplewood Elementary School's cafeteria hosted parent-teacher conferences every second Thursday of the month. Plastic chairs were arranged in circles, coffee was brewing in large urns, and bulletin boards displayed student artwork. It was the epitome of suburban family life. Lisa Thompson arrived at 6:47 p.m., 3 minutes early as always. She carried a well-organized canvas bag containing notebooks, pens, her daughter Emma's school reports, and snacks for the longer meetings. Her blonde hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail. She wore dark jeans and a simple cardigan. Nothing about her appearance suggested anything beyond typical working mom efficiency. Lisa had lived in Maplewood for 4 years now. She was 36 years old, divorced, raising 2 children, Emma, age 8, and Tyler, age 10. The other parents knew her as reliable, helpful, and pleasantly unremarkable. She volunteered for school events, attended soccer games religiously, and never caused drama. What they didn't know was that Captain Lisa Thompson had completed 3 tours in Afghanistan, served as an Army intelligence officer, and had been decorated twice for valor under fire. But that was a lifetime ago, carefully compartmentalized and rarely discussed. "Lisa," called Janet Morrison, the PTA president, "so glad you could make it. How are the kids adjusting to their new teachers?" "Very well, thanks," Lisa replied with a warm smile. "Emma loves Mrs. Patterson's reading program, and Tyler's finally getting excited about math." This was the Lisa everyone knew, focused on her children, engaged but not pushy, the kind of parent teachers appreciated working with. The meeting began with Principal Richards discussing the upcoming school fundraiser. Lisa listened attentively, taking occasional notes. Around her, other parents chatted quietly or checked their phones. The atmosphere was relaxed, routine. 20 minutes into the meeting, disaster struck in the most mundane way possible. Lisa was reaching for her water bottle when her elbow caught the strap of her canvas bag. The bag tipped over, spilling its contents across the linoleum floor. Notebooks, pens, granola bars, and various papers scattered under nearby chairs. "Oh no," Lisa muttered, quickly dropping to her knees to gather everything. Other parents nearby immediately began helping. Janet Morrison grabbed some pens, Mr. Peterson from Tyler's class reached for scattered papers, and Mrs. Chen started collecting granola bars. That's when Mr. Peterson's fingers closed around something that made him freeze. A military ID card. Not an old one, not a spouse's dependent card. An active-duty Army identification with Lisa's photograph, her rank clearly visible. "Captain." "Lisa," Mr. Peterson said quietly, holding up the card. "Is this yours?" The cafeteria didn't exactly go silent, but the nearby conversations definitely paused. Lisa looked up from where she was kneeling, saw her military ID in Mr. Peterson's hand, and felt the careful walls she'd built around her civilian life begin to crumble. "Yes," she said simply, accepting the card back. "Thank you." But the damage was done. Mrs. Chen had seen it too, and Janet Morrison was now looking at Lisa with completely different eyes. "Lisa," Janet said carefully, "you're in the Army?" "I was," Lisa replied, stuffing everything back into her bag. "It's not really relevant to Emma's reading progress." But it was too late for deflection. Word was already spreading through the parent network with the efficiency of a military communication system. Whispers began rippling outward from their corner of the cafeteria. "Did you know Lisa Thompson was in the Army?" "Not just Army, Captain. That's a high rank, isn't it?" "How long has she been hiding this?" Lisa could hear the murmurs beginning and felt the familiar weight of unwanted attention. This was exactly why she'd kept her military service private, not from shame, but from a desire to be seen as just another parent rather than as an object of curiosity or misplaced hero worship. Mr. Peterson, however, was looking at her with growing recognition and respect. His own brother had served 2 tours in Iraq, and he understood the significance of what Lisa had likely experienced. "Captain Thompson," he said formally, "thank you for your service." Lisa nodded graciously but uncomfortably. "I prefer just Lisa, please." Principal Richards had noticed the commotion and approached their group. "Is everything all right over here?" "We just learned that Lisa is a veteran," Janet explained, her voice carrying that particular tone people use when they've discovered something they consider newsworthy. "Army captain," Mr. Peterson added, "must have been quite a career change, from military officer to single mom." Lisa felt trapped. The attention she'd successfully avoided for 4 years was now focused directly on her, and she could see the questions forming in everyone's minds. She needed to address this before speculation ran completely wild. "I served for 12 years, she said calmly, standing up and shouldering her bag. "I left the service when I became a single mother because I wanted to be present for my children. That's really all there is to it." But Mrs. Chen, who had been quiet until now, suddenly spoke up. "Wait, Lisa, that would mean you were deployed, right? With children at home?" Lisa's jaw tightened slightly. "I was deployed 3 times to Afghanistan. My ex-husband was home with the kids. When our marriage ended, I made the decision to leave active duty and focus on being a full-time parent." The group was now completely focused on her, and Lisa could feel the weight of their collective curiosity and judgment. Some parents were clearly impressed, others seemed surprised that the quiet soccer mom had hidden such a significant part of her identity. "What did you do in Afghanistan?" asked another parent who had wandered over. "Intelligence analysis," Lisa replied curtly. "Nothing as exciting as movies make it seem." This was a lie, and Lisa knew it. Her work had involved field operations, direct action missions, and situations that most people couldn't imagine surviving. But she had no intention of sharing those details with her children's classmates' parents. Janet Morrison, however, was just getting started. "Lisa, this is amazing. Why didn't you ever mention this before? We could have had you speak to the kids about Veterans Day, or—" "Because I'm not here as a veteran," Lisa interrupted firmly. "I'm here as Emma and Tyler's mom. That's the role that matters in this context." The firmness in her voice created a brief, uncomfortable silence. Mr. Peterson seemed to understand her position, but several other parents looked confused or even slightly offended by her desire for privacy. That's when 8-year-old Emma appeared at Lisa's elbow, having wandered over from the children's area where they'd been coloring while parents met. "Mommy, why is everyone staring at us?" Emma asked with the blunt honesty of childhood. Lisa's heart clenched. This was exactly what she'd been trying to avoid, her children becoming objects of curiosity because of her military background. "They're just talking, sweetheart," Lisa said, placing a protective hand on Emma's shoulder. "Are you ready to go home?" "But the meeting isn't over yet," Emma observed. Before Lisa could respond, Tyler appeared as well. At 10, he was more attuned to social dynamics and immediately sensed the tension. "What's wrong?" he asked quietly. Janet Morrison, apparently oblivious to Lisa's discomfort, beamed at the children. "We just learned that your mommy is a war hero. Isn't that exciting?" Lisa's hand tightened on Emma's shoulder. "I'm not a hero," she said sharply. "I'm a mother who did her job when she was in the service and now does her job as a parent." Tyler frowned, looking between his mother and the adults surrounding them. "Mom, are you okay?" This broke Lisa's heart. Her son was worried about her, and it was because these well-meaning parents couldn't respect her desire for privacy. "I'm fine, buddy," she said, managing a smile for him. "Why don't you and Emma get your backpacks? We're going to head home." As the children walked away, Lisa turned back to the group of parents. Her voice was calm, but carried an unmistakable edge of authority that none of them had heard from her before. "I understand that you're curious," she said, "but my military service is not a topic I discuss at school events. I'm here as a parent, nothing more, nothing less. I hope you can respect that." The command presence in her voice was unmistakable now. This wasn't the accommodating soccer mom they thought they knew. This was someone accustomed to being obeyed. Mr. Peterson nodded immediately. Of course, Lisa, I understand. But Janet Morrison seemed less willing to let it go. I just think it's wonderful that Emma and Tyler have such a strong role model. You should be proud of your service. I am proud of my service, Lisa replied evenly. I'm also proud of my children, my civilian career, and my role in this community. One doesn't diminish the others. Principal Richards, sensing the growing tension, finally stepped in. Perhaps we should return to discussing the fundraiser, he suggested diplomatically. Lisa nodded gratefully and began to move toward the exit where her children were waiting. But as she walked away, she could hear the conversations resuming behind her, and she knew her cover as just another parent was blown forever. In the parking lot, Tyler looked up at her with concerned eyes. Mom, why were those people being weird? Lisa unlocked the car and helped Emma with her seatbelt before answering. Sometimes adults get excited when they learn new things about people they thought they knew well. Are you famous or something? Emma asked innocently. No, sweetheart, I'm just your mom who used to have a different job before you were born. Tyler, however, was connecting dots with the sharp intelligence he'd inherited from both parents. It was about the Army, wasn't it? That's why you have those pictures in your closet that you don't show us. Lisa met his eyes in the rearview mirror. Yes, it was about the Army. And yes, I served before you were born and when you were very little. Were you important? Emma asked. I did important work, Lisa said carefully, but now my most important job is being your mom. The drive home was quiet, but Lisa could tell both children were processing this new information about their mother. She'd always planned to tell them about her military service when they were older, but she'd hoped to control the timing and context. That evening, after both kids were in bed, Lisa sat in her living room with a cup of tea and finally allowed herself to feel the full impact of what had happened. Her carefully constructed civilian identity had been accidentally shattered by a dropped ID card. Her phone buzzed with a text from Janet Morrison. Lisa, I hope I didn't overstep tonight. I just think your service is so admirable, and the kids could really benefit from hearing your perspective. Lisa stared at the message for a long time before responding. I appreciate your intentions, Janet, but I hope you'll understand that I prefer to keep my past service and my role as a parent separate. Thank you for respecting my privacy. The response came quickly. Of course, but if you ever change your mind, we'd love to have you speak at Veterans Day. Lisa didn't reply to that one. Over the next few days, the news of Lisa's military background spread through the school community with the efficiency she'd expected. Some parents were clearly impressed and began treating her with a deference that made her uncomfortable. Others seemed to view her differently, as if her military service somehow disqualified her from understanding normal parenting concerns. But the most difficult part was the change in how people related to her children. Suddenly, Emma and Tyler were the Army captain's kids instead of just Emma and Tyler. Well-meaning adults would comment on how disciplined and well-behaved they were, as if their good behavior was solely attributable to military precision rather than careful, loving parenting. A week after the parent-teacher conference incident, Lisa was approached by Mr. Peterson after Emma's soccer game. Lisa, he said quietly, I wanted to apologize for how things went the other night. I think some people got a little carried away with excitement. It's okay, David, Lisa replied. I understand that people are curious. I just wish. You wish you could be both, he said perceptively. A veteran and a mom, without one defining the other. Lisa looked at him with surprise and gratitude. Exactly. My brother struggled with that when he came back from Iraq, David continued. People either wanted to treat him like a hero or like he was broken. He just wanted to be Mike, who happened to have served, not Mike the veteran. That's it exactly, Lisa said with relief. I'm proud of my service, but it's not the only thing that defines me. For what it's worth, David said, I think you found the perfect balance. Your kids are great because you're a great mom, not because you're a former Army captain. That evening, Lisa had the conversation she'd been avoiding with Emma and Tyler. She showed them her military photos, explained where she'd served, and answered their questions as honestly as she could given their ages. Were you scared? Emma asked, looking at a photo of Lisa in combat gear. Sometimes, Lisa admitted. I had good training and good people with me. Do you miss it? Tyler asked. Lisa considered this carefully. I miss some parts of it, the sense of purpose, the teamwork, the feeling that what I was doing mattered, but I wouldn't trade being your mom for anything. Can you still do Army stuff? Emma wanted to know. Lisa smiled. Some things. I can still read a map without GPS, I can pack a suitcase very efficiently, and I'm pretty good in emergencies. Is that why you stayed so calm when Mrs. Patterson fainted last year? Tyler asked. Partly, Lisa admitted. Military training teaches you to stay calm and think clearly when things go wrong. Over the following weeks, Lisa found a new equilibrium in the school community. She remained private about the details of her service, but stopped actively hiding her military background. When the inevitable Veterans Day speaking request came again, she politely declined, but offered to help organize recognition for all veterans in the school community. The truth was that Lisa Thompson had successfully integrated both parts of her identity. She was a devoted mother who happened to be a veteran, a soccer mom who could also navigate a crisis with military precision, a woman who had served her country and now served her family with equal dedication. And perhaps most importantly, her children learned that their mother was multidimensional, that being a mom didn't erase her other accomplishments, and being a veteran didn't make her any less loving or present as a parent. Sometimes the best heroes are the ones hiding in plain sight, making their most important contributions not on battlefields, but in cafeterias, at soccer games, and around dinner tables. Have you ever discovered that someone ordinary had an extraordinary past? Share their story in the comments and tell us what city you're watching from. At Hidden Legends, we share stories like this every week. Hidden strengths, unexpected backgrounds, and the amazing people living seemingly ordinary lives all around us. Subscribe and help these stories be heard. Remember, the most important service often happens long after the uniform comes off.